Most people who try to save $10,000 quit before they hit $3,000. Research shows that 90% of people who set ambitious savings goals abandon them within 6 months. The problem isn't willpower or income, it's that everyone's been taught to save money completely backwards. My name is Buffett, and I help people understand money, personal finance, and building wealth. If you're interested in getting your finances on track and maybe even getting ahead of the pack, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if this information helps you out. Here's what nobody tells you about saving money. Your brain is actively working against you every single time you try to put cash aside. Scientists call it loss aversion, and it's the reason why watching $100 leave your bank account feels twice as painful as finding $100 feels good. Your psychology is rigged to make saving feel like punishment, which is why traditional advice about cutting back and sacrificing never works long term. But there's a way around this that researchers discovered in a 2004 study. People who used a specific automation strategy saved 3.8 times more money than those who relied on willpower alone. The difference wasn't discipline or income level. It was eliminating the psychological friction that makes saving feel impossible. Let me show you exactly how this works. Imagine you earn $67,000 a year. With the right automation setup, you could save close to $7,000 annually without making a single manual transfer. You never feel the sting of moving money from one account to another because it happens before you even see it. Your future self essentially taxes your current self 10%, and your current self never notices the difference. The setup requires about an hour of work up front, but once it's running, you're done. Step 1 happens on payday when your paycheck hits your checking account. Step 2 occurs automatically on that same day when your bank splits the money into two separate accounts. The first account handles your spending, which includes fixed expenses like rent, utilities, insurance, plus variable costs like groceries and gas. You'll need to calculate your average monthly spending by looking at the past 3 to 6 months of transactions. The second account is pure savings, untouched by daily expenses. At the end of each month, anything left over in your spending account gets automatically transferred to savings as well. This leftover money becomes a bonus on top of your regular automated savings. Once the money lands in savings, it can flow into 3 possible destinations: an emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of expenses, a high-yield savings account earning actual interest, or investment accounts that build long-term wealth. What makes this system powerful is that you're never manually deciding to save. The decision gets made once during setup, then it happens automatically forever. You're not relying on discipline or motivation or remembering to transfer money. The friction disappears entirely. Now, here's where most people sabotage themselves before they even start. They look at $10,000 and immediately feel overwhelmed. The number seems impossibly large, so they either set a smaller goal that won't actually change their life, or they don't start at all. Both options guarantee failure. $10,000 in 1 year breaks down to $833 per month. Still sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But that monthly number breaks down to just $27.40 per day. Suddenly, we're not talking about some massive sacrifice. We're talking about the cost of lunch at a mediocre restaurant. Let's get specific about what $27 a day actually looks like in real life. Cook dinner at home instead of ordering takeout, and you've saved $10 to $15 right there. Brew your own coffee instead of hitting the drive-thru for a $5 latte, and you're at $20 saved. Cancel 2 streaming subscriptions you barely watch. That's another $1 per day. Take the bus or subway instead of calling a rideshare, and you've saved $7. Skip 1 night at the bar each week and hang out with friends at home instead, and you've saved another $14 daily. The first account handles your spending, which includes fixed expenses like rent, utilities, insurance, plus variable costs like groceries and gas. You'll need to calculate your average monthly spending by looking at the past 3 to 6 months of transactions. The second account is pure savings, untouched by daily expenses. At the end of each month, anything left over in your spending
spending account gets automatically transferred to savings as well. This leftover money becomes a bonus on top of your regular automated savings. None of these changes require you to become a hermit or eat nothing but rice and beans. You're just being slightly more intentional about where your money goes. The person sitting next to you on the bus is making the opposite choices and wondering why they are always broke. You're making marginally different decisions and ending the year with $10,000. But there's a psychological trap waiting for you even after you understand the math. It's called present bias, and it's the reason why people choose a small reward today over a larger reward tomorrow. Your brain is wired to value immediate gratification so heavily that future benefits barely register as real. This is why you know you should save, but you buy the thing anyway. The trick to beating present bias isn't fighting it directly. You can't just tell yourself to care more about the future. Your brain doesn't work that way. Instead, you need to reframe how you think about the daily savings. Stop thinking about saving $27 today. Start thinking about having $10,000 in 12 months. The end point becomes your focus, not the daily sacrifice. When you shift your mental frame this way, something interesting happens. That $27 stops feeling like money you're losing and starts feeling like progress toward a specific goal. You're not depriving yourself, you're building something. The emotional weight flips from negative to positive.
This mental shift sounds simple, almost too simple to matter. But research consistently shows that people who visualize their end goal in concrete terms are significantly more likely to stick with challenging behaviors. Your brain needs to see the destination as real and achievable, not as some abstract concept floating in the distant future. The automation handles the mechanical side of saving. The daily breakdown makes the goal feel achievable. The mental reframe keeps you motivated when temptation shows up. But there's still one more element that determines whether you'll actually hit $10,000 or quietly give up after a few months. What drives you to save in the first place? Most people never answer that question honestly. They think about saving because they're supposed to, or because some financial advisor told them to, or because they saw an Instagram post about compound interest. But that's surface-level motivation, and it evaporates the moment you see something shiny on sale. Companies spend billions figuring out what makes you tick emotionally. Amazon knows you better than your best friend does. They've mapped your desires, your impulses, your weaknesses. Every ad you see, every product placement, every limited time offer is engineered to hijack your emotional decision-making. They've turned your brain into a profit machine, and most people don't even realize it's happening. But here's what they don't tell you. Those same psychological principles work both ways. If understanding emotional triggers can make you spend money, understanding them can also make you save it. A 2019 research study found that people who leverage their emotional connection to savings are 3.3 times more likely to stick with it. Not 3% more likely, 330% more likely. The difference comes down to one question. Why do you actually want this money? Not the rehearsed answer you'd give at a dinner party. The real answer. The one that makes your chest feel tight when you think about it. For some people, it's the memory of growing up broke and swearing they'd never put their kids through that. For others, it's watching their parents work themselves into the ground and realizing there has to be another way. Maybe it's the freedom to walk away from a job that's crushing your soul, or the ability to help someone you love when they need it most. Whatever your reason is, it needs to be visceral. It needs to be something you can see and feel, not just understand intellectually. Because when you're standing in a store deciding whether to buy something you don't need, statistics about compound interest won't stop you, but the image of what you're actually saving for might. Author Simon Sinek calls this the golden circle, and it's why some people achieve their goals while others don't. Most people start with what they're doing. I'm saving money. Then maybe they get to how. I'm automating transfers and cutting expenses. But they never get to why, and that's where all the power lives. Your why creates a direct line between your daily choices and your core values. It transforms saving from an obligation into something that actually means something. Think about
about the last time you bought something on impulse. You probably felt excited for about 10 minutes, maybe a day if it was expensive. Then the item just became part of your life, unremarkable and eventually invisible. Now think about a goal you actually achieved after working toward it for months or years. That feeling doesn't fade the same way. It compounds, just like the money you're saving. The trick is making that future reward feel real right now. Put a picture of what you're saving for somewhere you'll see it every day. If it's retirement freedom, find an image that captures that feeling. If it's helping your parents, keep their photo visible. If it's starting a business, create a visual reminder of what that looks like. Your brain needs concrete images, not abstract concepts floating in the distant future.
But even with a clear why, there's still one massive obstacle standing between you and that $10,000: temptation. And temptation is a relentless opponent that knows exactly how to beat you. Oscar Wilde said he could resist everything except temptation. And most people operate the same way. You know you shouldn't buy it, you know you're supposed to be saving, but your brain is screaming at you to just get the thing. And suddenly all your careful planning evaporates. This happens because of dopamine, the chemical that drives most of your decisions without you even realizing it. Here's what most people get wrong about dopamine. They think the pleasure comes after you get what you want. You see something you like, you buy it, dopamine floods your brain, you feel good. But that's not how it actually works. The dopamine hit happens before you make the purchase, during the anticipation phase. Your brain gets excited thinking about having the thing, and that excitement is what drives you to buy it. Then you actually get it, and the dopamine stops. That's why you've probably bought something you really wanted, felt great for about an hour, and then completely forgot about it. The pleasure wasn't in owning it. The pleasure was in wanting it. Companies know this. They've built entire industries around keeping you in that anticipation phase, constantly wanting the next thing, because that's where all the dopamine lives. Retail stores use sales signs to create artificial urgency. Online shops set spending thresholds that make you add just one more item to your cart. Subscription services offer free trials that conveniently convert to paid memberships unless you remember to cancel. Every single tactic is designed to trigger that anticipation dopamine and get you to spend before your rational brain catches up. Fighting this directly is nearly impossible. Telling yourself you'll never impulse buy again is like telling yourself you'll never be hungry again. Your brain doesn't work that way. But there's a method that actually works, and it's almost stupidly simple. When you see something you want to buy, don't tell yourself no. Tell yourself, not now. Create a list, digital or physical, and add the item to it. Let yourself feel that anticipation dopamine. Enjoy thinking about owning it. Then, wait 30 days before you're allowed to actually buy it. Research in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology shows this technique works because it doesn't create conflict between what you want and what you should do. You're not depriving yourself. You're just delaying the decision. And here's what happens about 92% of the time. After 2 weeks, you realize you don't actually want the thing anymore. It was just an impulse, a temporary spike of desire that felt urgent in the moment, but faded quickly once you step back. The items you still want after 30 days, those are probably worth buying, assuming they fit your budget. But most things won't make it that long. You'll look at your list and wonder why you even added half of them. That's the difference between a genuine desire and manufactured urgency. This strategy saves you money, obviously, but it does something even more valuable. It trains your brain to separate real wants from impulse wants. And over time, you get better at recognizing the difference immediately. You start seeing money differently. Once you understand future value, every purchase becomes a choice between having something now and having significantly more later. That $5 coffee isn't just $5. If you invested it instead at a 10% annual return, it becomes $13 in 10 years, $34 in 20 years. Does that coffee taste good enough to be worth $34 future dollars? This isn't about never spending money. It's about understanding the real cost of your choices. When you frame purchases through future value, your entire relationship with spending changes. You stop seeing prices as just numbers and start seeing them as opportunities you're either taking or giving up.
Here's where it gets practical. Say you're looking at a $3,000 purchase, maybe a new couch, maybe a vacation package, maybe some gadget you've been eyeing. Before you buy it, run the future value calculation. $3,000 invested at 10% becomes almost $8,000 in 10 years, $21,000 in 20 years, $52,000 in 30 years. Now the question becomes sharp and clear. Is this thing worth $52,000 to your future self? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes that vacation creates memories that are genuinely worth more than the future value. Sometimes that purchase improves your life in ways that justify the cost. But most of the time, once you see the real trade-off, the answer becomes obvious. You don't actually want the thing enough to pay what it truly costs. This is the shift that separates people who build wealth from people who stay broke despite earning good money. Wealthy people naturally think in terms of future value. Every dollar has the potential to multiply, and spending it means killing that potential. Poor people think in terms of immediate satisfaction. They see a dollar as something to spend before it disappears, not something to grow. The math works for any purchase at any price point. That $15 lunch could become $39 in 10 years. That $100 night out could become $260 in 10 years. That $500 impulse buy could become $1,300 in 10 years. Add up all these small decisions over a year, and you're looking at tens of thousands of future dollars being traded for temporary satisfaction. But there's another factor nobody talks about that might matter even more than the math. Author Morgan Housel figured out that the real equation for savings isn't income minus expenses, it's income minus ego. Look around your space right now. How many things did you buy because you genuinely wanted them versus how many did you buy to prove something to someone else? Did you upgrade your phone because the old one stopped working or because your friend got the new model? Did you buy that car because it met your needs or because you wanted people to see you driving it? Most spending beyond basic needs is ego spending. It's showing the world you have money, proving you've made it, keeping up with what everyone else seems to have.
And here's the trap. The more you earn, the more your ego wants to spend. You get a raise and suddenly your old car feels inadequate. You get a promotion and your apartment feels too small. You make more money, but you never actually get ahead because your ego expands faster than your income. The fastest way to increase your savings rate has nothing to do with earning more. It's about caring less what other people think of you. Can you drive a 10-year-old car while your coworkers drive new ones? Can you live in a modest place while your friends upgrade to luxury apartments? Can you skip expensive dinners and vacations that exist mainly for social media validation? Your ability to answer yes to these questions determines your financial future more than your salary ever will. This is uncomfortable to admit. We all want to believe we're above caring what others think. But then we make purchasing decisions specifically designed to impress people we don't even like. We finance lifestyles we can't afford to maintain an image that doesn't make us happy. We trade our future financial freedom for present social approval from people who aren't thinking about us anyway. The irony is that actual wealthy people, the ones with real financial security, usually don't look wealthy. They drive normal cars, they live in reasonable houses, they don't feel the need to broadcast their net worth through consumption. Meanwhile, people drowning in debt dress like they're rich, desperate to maintain an illusion that's bankrupting them. Reducing your ego doesn't mean becoming cheap or depriving yourself of things you genuinely value. It means getting honest about what you actually want versus what you think you're supposed to want. It means distinguishing between purchases that improve your life and purchases that just feed your image. It means recognizing that true wealth is having options and freedom, not having stuff that impresses strangers. Here's what makes this all work together. The impulse control strategy stops you from making emotional purchases. The future value thinking helps you understand the real cost of spending, and reducing your ego eliminates the psychological need to spend in the first place. Combine all three, and saving money stops being a struggle. It becomes the natural result of how you think about money. You'll still face challenges. There will be months where unexpected expenses wreck your budget. There will be temptations that are genuinely hard to resist. There will be moments when you question whether all this discipline is worth it.
But if you've built the right habits and frameworks, these moments become manageable instead of catastrophic. You have systems that work automatically. You have mental models that guide decisions. You have clarity about what matters and what doesn't. The difference between people who successfully save and people who perpetually struggle isn't willpower or income. It's having frameworks that make the right choices easier. Automate your savings so you never have to choose. Delay purchases so impulses don't control you. Think in future value so you understand real costs. Reduce your ego so you need less in the first place. These aren't complicated strategies. They're just different ways of approaching the same goal. and together they create something much more powerful than any single tactic alone. Saving $10,000 isn't about deprivation or sacrifice. It's about building a system where saving happens naturally because you've removed the obstacles that make it hard. Your future self is depending on the decisions you make today, and now you know exactly how to make those decisions work. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment to start saving. They tell themselves they'll begin next month, after the next paycheck, once they get that raise, when things settle down. Meanwhile, years pass and nothing changes. The perfect moment never arrives because it doesn't exist. You already have everything you need to save $10,000. You have the automation framework that removes willpower from the equation. You have the breakdown that makes the goal achievable instead of overwhelming. You have the psychological tools to resist manufactured urgency and see through ego-driven spending. You understand future value and what money actually costs when you spend it instead of investing it. The only question left is whether you'll actually implement any of this or just file it away as interesting information you'll get to eventually. Because here's what nobody wants to hear. Knowing this stuff means nothing if you don't use it. You could have read this entire script, nodded along, thought it all made perfect sense, and still be in the exact same financial position a year from now. Information without action is just entertainment. Set up that automated transfer today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Add one item to your not now but later list the next time you feel an impulse to buy something. Calculate the future value of your next purchase before you make it. Pick one ego-driven expense you can eliminate. Do something, anything, that moves you from understanding to doing. The difference between your current financial situation and where you want to be isn't some secret strategy you haven't discovered yet. It's the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. $10,000 is sitting there waiting for you to claim it through small, consistent choices that compound over time. The only person who can close that gap is you.